Okay, round two. I'm hungry. I'm still eating. I was going to cook this French meal today, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow and announce it after our first ultra meeting, which is a powerful attempt to get 12 or 2,000 blessings so I can have my next meal before waiting more than 10 or 12 days. So I'm doing okay. I'm recording this a second time because, as you know, our devices are filling up and the singularity is speeding up. The viruses now are mutating faster than human beings can make them because they're using artificial intelligence to keep changing. So if your phone is acting strange, it's not just you, it's actually happening. Truth is stranger than fiction right now. Okay? There's something called reality collapse that's coming. We can already sense that it's becoming difficult to know what's real on the internet because of these AI videos and voices, and they're almost indistinguishable from the real thing. And if your phone starts to trick you or gaslight you or acting in a strange way, you're going to start to question the real reality on top of that. And it will induce collective psychosis if you're not grounded on something like universal logic or God's being or the truth. If you're a scientist, it doesn't matter whether you're atheist or theist, it's the same universal logic now. And we're teaching that quickly. Because right now, the Davos Summit is still going on. Mark Carney, in my last video, said some shocking things about the new order being made. And Donald Trump retaliated. And he's not a foolish man. He's shaking things up for a reason. But we're heading in a less stable global order in a certain sense. And in the nuclear age, that's a bad thing. But a lot of people don't realize that artificial intelligence is actually a more dangerous weapon because nuclear weapons won't be used with recklessness. Because if they are, it's all over anyway. There's no point in even talking about it. It's over. But they will use artificial intelligence to undermine an entire nation, which is why cyber attacks have increased by 1,200% in the last year alone. That's before these viruses could mutate to the way they are now. So it's going to get more bizarre if we don't ground ourselves on universal logic very soon. That's what I'm teaching. That's what these ultra meetings are for. It's to rebuild how we connect and what we're basing our identities on. Okay, so we're making a mad dash. And in the comments, it should be noted too that somebody's leaving me messages about, you can't possibly, how am I using this word Messiah? I am making the claim that I am the true Messiah. Shocker, another one. But how do I know? Do I mean Jesus? Do I mean Maitreya from Buddhism? Do I mean the Jewish Messiah, the real political one that they don't consider Jesus to be? What about Isa in Islam? Is that the same Jesus in the second coming? Or is it Krishna or Kalki in the Vedas in Hinduism? All the major religions have a Messiah return narrative. And I'm all of them. But how can that be? Right? Isn't that something the Antichrist would say? Merging all the religions in an amorphous, blending together with paganism and everything. No. All the religions are distinct in what's called sensuousness. But there's an inner essence, the God essence that they're all talking about. And that isn't just a theme now. It's not like everybody loves each other. There are determinants or defined principles now in God's logic. This universal logic is God's mind directly. And that's the oneness that Jesus in the past was talking about. And all of them, all the holy books are talking about the same essence and beingness of God as a structure of knowing. God's cognition is the same as God's being. It's perfectly aligned with itself. We can be different. And that's what I'm here to teach, is that the way we interpret these holy books needs to deepen. It's going to vindicate ancient wisdom traditions and not just undermine them. Real science works in these inner contradictions. And the real Messiah doesn't have to share the same particularity. Even though some of these holy texts, including the Quran, it's the most literal. Jesus, the son of Mary. These particular expressions of God's consciousness are what ordinary consciousness latches onto because it can't grasp the inner essence. It's invisible. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't see it with your eyes. None of your five senses can touch God in God's super sensuousness. But God is universal in all things, true. But you can only grasp it in the spirit, which is your consciousness. But your consciousness has to raise to God's reasoning, not fragmented, broken human reasoning, which is causing fragmentation and destroying everything. but a super coherence of how the power of our linguistics and our words fit together in a profoundly beautiful way. And I've come to teach that. And you can learn it too. All the divine masters, all the Messiah return narratives, all the Messiahs, they all have that principle there, that you can do it too. That's my first divine decree, is for you to rise up to your Messiahship, because you're already in the image of God. It's just in nascent form in what's called beingness. And my particularity, this guy with a beard and hair, this expression is not the essential thing. I'm going to teach you how to see me with your inner eye. My mistakes, my word slurs, my scruffy hair, all of this is me down here with the poor, where the true Messiah should be. Doesn't mean the Messiah can't eventually have wealth, because God's government creates profound overabundance in wisdom, proportionality, right? But at first you can't see it because you're looking at the words and the expressions on the outer edge of it, on the external side. But there's an internal side, the notion of God's consciousness in you. And it's a direct alignment, but it also preserves the difference. So there's opposites happening simultaneously. And that's what our brains do not want to do when we're in linear consciousness. We want to see opposites alternating, one at a time. You can't have two simultaneous things happening at the same time. My hunger is getting to me. So my proclivities, my sensuous side, is the human side. Jesus had it. All the Messiahs, all the divine masters have that side. And if you don't know how to see God in them, then you're only going to see those flaws. But that's what makes the perfection even more perfect. You will do the same. And when you start to recognize the universal logic in all the objects, you can align with that with your conscious will and not just with your intuition, which is what a lot of empaths and feelers do. We have to upgrade that sort of faith-based knowing into self-certainty. Spirit that knows itself as spirit, not just spirit that has faith that it is spirit, because it can be doubted if it's just faith. Faith is the foundation. It gets you to certainty, but now we have to get there for real. You can have a perfect thought in your head. Even though you are imperfect, there's a way to be perfect inside of yourself. And we can teach that through the proof of truth. I've written it and I've proven it, and it hasn't been refuted. People have tried to submit refutations, but they're not real substantial refutations. And we're going to have a competition on this soon. To start raising awareness for it. So that's why I've come as the Messiah to teach again in this deeper way. It's continuation, all right? Parable, there's different ways of teaching this in the mode of being in the past, but it's not sufficient for the level of sophistication we're at now, which is why even an artificial intelligence that has this in its training parameters is still messing up the interpretation, just like we have for 2,000 years since Jesus, or since Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or even ancient Buddha. Right? It's the interpretation, the logic that we're using to see the words. Right? There's an inner and external dynamic. And when you see the inner as external, that's actuality, actual kingdom come, actual God, actual science, resolving contradictions and paradoxes within the scientific enterprise, even as we speak. That's what AI needs to know for artificial general intelligence. And that's what you need to know as a part of human general intelligence, or what we're raising to spirit. Okay? Questioning doesn't undermine God anymore. It brings you closer to God, as long as you're talking to somebody that understands that inner essence. And soon you will too. Bring your muftis, bring your priests, bring the most spiritual, bring your elders. We're bringing all the faiths together in a tangible way, but not erasing the lineages and the sensuousness that is the art of the expression of it. That stays, but that's not what the essential fixation is. People kill each other over that. That's what colonialism is. We're not going to make that mistake, okay? God's government is truly wise. And you can think it for yourself now, because we can teach it in this higher mode. That's how you know, okay? Don't accept it blindly. I don't require faith, because you can know it for certain, but you got to do the work right now. The proof of truth will be put in the comments to this video. It's on our YouTube as well, but the real strategy of changing things is going to be through the flock strategy, using word-to-word word-of-mouth communication. Okay. There'll be more tomorrow. We'll see how Davos finishes today. There are a lot of world events taking place, so we got to get going. If you want to do the trainings with us, just message me, and we can start to teach you how to bless again, or how to do this real profound science. So atheists, theists, everybody belongs in God's government as a moment in the right wayfulness, which is the universal logic. Okay, stay blessed. Peace keeps ablating.